Greg, how you doing, mate?
Good. Excellent.
Right.
Beautiful day.
Well, this is our next episode, and we're up to 10 episodes. We've made double figures.
Unreal.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've definitely gone through a lot of topics. So this will be just a bit of a recap of some of those. And on this one here, we've recorded 9 episodes together. We've talked about mindset, discipline, purpose, self-belief, habits, community. But none of it matters unless we're actually becoming someone different ourselves and for others that are listening. So today's question is, who are you becoming? So, who are you becoming every day through your habits?
It's an interesting one. You're definitely in change, and you're definitely changing all the time. So for me, I'm becoming a better person, a better version of myself all the time. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I'm improving and studying and making sure that I'm aware of how I'm performing and then going from there. So yeah, I'm improving, becoming a better version.
So with moments like when you might see yourself sort of slipping into old habits, are you a lot more aware? You can recognise it a lot faster now?
Absolutely. But that's the big point is when you have that awareness, you know when those things are happening. When you don't have awareness, you're not even aware that those things are happening. So you just think it's the norm. You think it's the absolute norm. I was speaking to somebody this morning that really something he said was he never believed you could change. There was and now he's becoming a little aware through this information that, okay, I wasn't right. Now he's in his 40s and he's always believed that you can't change. Who you are is who you are.
Yeah.
And it was interesting when he said that. And it was interesting to see the difference he's noticed in himself and things that have started happening that he would have one time said was luck. Now he's realising that no, there's actually things that can happen when you're aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
Some absolutely, and they are pretty special things that have happened, and to the fact that it made him a little nervous because they seemed a little bit freaky because they weren't within his normal awareness.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to become aware. So yeah, definitely, you with that growth and awareness, you're making sure that you know when things is changing.
Yeah, and I know that our last episode was a lot about awareness as well. And it is that is the biggest part. If you're not aware, it is really hard to make any change if you're not aware that if to be able to catch yourself out and to know that you're not happy in that space or happy what you're doing there. I mean, I know what it's like, and I can be the type though also that I'll procrastinate quite often. It's like, I know I need to do this, and I know you've told me a lot about this over the years as well too. And it's those sort of self-sabotaging beliefs. We don't think that we deserve it. I think we've spoken about over the last few weeks as well. There's all many different ways, but how we can self-sabotage. If we just put in a little bit of effort, we're definitely going to be 100% better. But it's amazing how we just get comfortable, what we've spoken about in the other ones. But to who you are becoming, that's awesome to hear that you are becoming a better person every day. And if we can all strive for, I love the 1% better every day. And that's, I don't know whose slogan it is, but me personally, it's one that I would like to try to, there's days where you might be up and down, you might be down as well, but that little 1% better each day, just change a little bit of a habit, or it might be just a little bit of movement. I'm feeling a bit blocked up today. Now the world's ending, and now I've got this going on in my life to end this. And before you know it, you're just spiraling into a very negative space. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Okay, so for our next one, if someone met the version of themselves 5 years from now, would they be proud of today's choices?
It's interesting because there's two answers to that, and we've talked about it before. Which wolf are you feeding? So we talk about awareness a lot. The reason is because it's so important. If you're not aware and you're just being the same as you've always been, well, down the track, you're going to be that same version, just maybe a little bit better, maybe not, maybe who knows. But when you are aware and you make a choice and then you decide to move to improve yourself, and by this awareness, we keep using this word, it sounds weird that we use it all the time because it's so important that that's about knowing who you are, how you operate, and important part of is your capabilities. You have unbelievable potential. So if you actually you are aware of that and you start studying and moving down that track, well, you can be a totally different version of who you are today. Yeah. Totally different version.
I believe it. Yeah. 100%.
So it's so important. But it's important to know which wolf are you feeding. Are you feeding the wolf of growth and learning, studying and moving forward, or are you just staying the same? Are you just doing the everyday activities and just happy being in the comfort zone?
So for someone like myself who's very motivated, inspire others, uplifts, encourages, I'm always that healthy space for a lot of other people, and then I can get to a point where I get myself into an unhealthy mind space, I can say. And that's sort of been what's happening. I just got sick again and all this little dis-ease that we call it. And it's, but sometimes I do feel it just, my body is telling me, just slow down. You've got to take some time out for yourself. And I've literally been filling other people's cups from an empty cup right now. And the harder I'm working and giving my love and into the community when my cup isn't filled right now. So this week I actually cancelled some of our sessions with some of my clients and that. It was just I needed to resource. I needed to get out in that sunshine on the beach. That's my connection. And it was just so good to resource again. And I can already feel that I'm well on the mend now. But it's amazing just the places your mind can start to go when, this is happening. And now I hurt my back in the gym. And it just feels like that depends what wolf that you're feeding that you keep saying. Yeah. Whether it's the positive wolf or what was the way you said it?
Yeah, well, it is. It's about the wolf that you feed, which means is what are you giving the energy to? What are you giving your energy to?
That's what it was.
So what you're talking about right now is what is your energy? Why is this happening? Well, this is why I say the more you know about yourself and know what's actually going on, you actually then ask that question differently when you have these things going on in your life right now. Like you said, you're doing it because you're saying it's your body saying time for rest, time for that. Fair enough. That's a good logical answer to that. But the point is if you know who you are and you actually understand yourself, you realise that you can stand back at 10,000 feet and have a look at yourself and see what's actually going on there. There's other stuff that's going on outside there, Willie. Yep. We know that. Yeah. So that's all it is cause and effect is what we're talking about. Universal law. There's a cause that's happening through what you're thinking and what's going on in your life. And one part in your subconscious, your effect is your physically what's happening. You're unwell, not feeling up to it. Things are getting on top of you at the moment. Yep. You see it as a sign. It's a sign. But you've got to understand what that sign is to understand why it's happening. Yep. And as soon as you do that, believe it or not, all this other stuff, the physical side, will start disappearing real quick. Oh yeah, real quick. Within a day or two, you'll just be a different person and just feel 100%. Yeah. As soon as you unload that load that's been carried deep into those paradigms and the beliefs, and that's why it's so important. It's a life journey of testing this stuff out and finding out what it is and where it is. I've been doing some deep stuff in my own in the last few weeks, and I've come up with some unbelievable things. Even though all the knowledge I've got, like you keep saying, you've learnt all this stuff. I'm still learning. Oh yeah. I'm still learning. But when you understand, when you get to a level of understanding yourself and knowing who you are, there's a certain level, you'll always improve on that. But there's a certain level that when things do come along and do happen to you physically and things just don't go right in life, you've got an understanding of that and you can figure that out pretty quick. And then you can do something about it. As Bob Proctor always says, what we teach is at source. It's not something. It's not something that you exercise you do down the track to try and figure things out or fix or get better at. You go back to source and find out where the real issue is. What is causing these, things that are happening to you in your life? Whatever that could be. For some people, it could be injuries. For some other people, it could be relationships. For other people, it could be accidents. For other people, it could be just things that are happening in their lives right now. When you understand the process and how life is, and we're here on a journey, and this is all part of the journey.
Oh, yeah.
And a flip side of that, if you want to look back at it, let's pretend that for some people actually see this as a fact. Before we were born, we already designed this life that you're living in right now. This was what you chose. You says, this is the journey I want to have. I want to have a journey like Willie. I want to do it this way, exactly how you've been doing it through life. And right now, you're in a part of your life where there's a little bit of a sticky patch or something's not flowing nice and easy. I designed that way back. I wanted that challenge in my life just to then find out more about myself. I was having the same conversation with a person this morning, the same thing, is they're in that journey in their life. They're into their 40s and then now life is changing, physically changing. Yep. You can't be the rugby player you were at 20.
No way.
Right? But you can teach what you've done, but the ego sometimes wants to still be the 20-year-old player. Yeah. And when the young bloke comes along and tries you out, well, you're tempted to say, oh, hang on, you don't realise who you're dealing with. You forget that was 20 years, 30 years ago.
If my wife listens to this, she'd be laughing at what you've just said right now, because she knows me and my ego does come in, my personality that she calls it, and I still think that I'm 20 in my mind, but the body doesn't quite follow now. And that's where all these niggles just keep coming in. I can't keep up. I'm trying to prove something that I don't need to be proving. And it's just amazing how, those habits over the years have just stayed ingrained into me. And I just still think that I'm a high performance athlete at that level, but I might be for my age, but not that age.
So let's do some clearance on it, Willie, because I can tell you, I'll give you the same example in my life. Yep. I was 55 years concrete laying, and now here I am, a mindset coach. Talk about chalk and cheese, right? So what's the difference? I'm passionate about what I do now, passionate more than I ever was concrete.
Yep.
So what am I saying to you, Willie? You were passionate about you when you were young and what your abilities were. See, but what you can do now is you can turn that experience and that passion that you had into doing what you're doing in this time of life. You don't have to sprint, you don't have to score the try and run around the seniors like happened at your very first. One of the big things we talked way back about, that was a breaking thing for your paradigms to give you a belief boost that actually made you grow very quickly in a very short space of time, because you had an emotional impact of that day. From fear of being on the field to all of a sudden gaining huge confidence of saying, wow, look what I just did. I accomplished something that I didn't think I could do before I come onto this field, and now I have. And then the next game proved it again and again and again, and then all of a sudden that's that ego and that's that strength that you found within yourself back then, right? Here you are down the track 20 years, 25 years later. You're all of a sudden, your body isn't able quite to do that. It's pretty good. Don't give yourself any discredit there. You're in excellent condition, and so but you've grown, you've learnt, you've been there, done that. To be honest, you've got to take that experience now and put what you learnt from that in to your passion of what you're doing now. Now, when you do that, it's a transformation into a better self. Exactly what we're talking about here. What are you going to be like in 5 years' time? Well, here you're talking about what you were like 20 odd years ago to where you are now. And the differences with you is what you're saying. Sometimes you're fighting a lot. You're trying to live like you were when you were 20, because you were thinking that you got so much rewards when you were 20 years old from those different things, scoring tries, running around people, running around All Blacks, all these type of things. These were huge, significant upgrades in your confidence.
Yeah.
These days, you compare and you're saying, well, what am I doing today? What am I doing? And I want to go back and live that again. No, you've got the experience. Right now, you can better that experience.
Yeah.
You can better that. But you've got to be aware that you are in a position now with experience, you've got age, so you've got all this behind you now. You just need to be aware of, okay, where can I position that in my life right now? Now you're doing it with youth. You're doing it with helping community. You're doing it within those areas. But you've got to define that area of realizing this is where my passion and where my strength is. Now you've got to be check on that too, that you are loving doing it.
Yeah.
Right? It's same as me. What I'm doing now, when I'm speaking now, right in this moment, I'm in passion.
Yep.
When I was laying concrete, I was not always in passion. I was in a little bit of ego because I was physical. I was doing my things, and it was something I knew I could do, and I knew I could do it very well. And my customers and clients called on me because they knew that I was capable of doing a good job. So that was the same type of thing as like you running around an All Black.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, this is a guy out of school that didn't do very well at school. He's pretty well a dumb ass at school, and never thought very much of, and low self-esteem. And that here he is now. He's in business. He's doing well and doing that. That's a big contrast change. Same as you. You didn't believe you could get out there. There were all these big guys on the senior. You're only a young fella out on the field. You thought, holy heck, what have I done?
Smallest guy out there.
And you proved a point in a very short time. Before the game was over, you grew confidence, and you really outstanded yourself. You looked and you thought, wow.
And it was like a traumatic event, like you did. Is that what you call it? Traumatic event?
It's emotional impact.
Emotional impact. That's the one. Traumatic.
Yeah.
It wasn't trauma. It was
It is.
It was a good emotional impact, I can say.
Well, people have had that traumatic as in an accident and they've come out and they've been different people.
What do they call it? Near miss or near death experience, and that's been their wake up call. And I think, and I'm at that phase of life right now, and I have had a bit of an emotional impact, and it's like, right, so which wolf do I feed here? And when you try to force things and push things, you're just pushing, what I'm trying to get into there is, you end up just pushing that thing away even further as well. It's like chasing the cat sort of thing. Where if you just stop or you feed the cat, it'll come towards you and that. But and just saying this, I do love the sculpture that you've just got behind you today, where it's that I can be that person now who's at the top, and like you said, and helping others come up now. And by doing that, that's my passion, and that gives me my hype. That gives me fills my cup. My wife said to me the other day, she said to me, what was it? What brings you joy? And I was like, I could tell her all the things that used to bring me joy. Like my rugby was my thing and all this kind of stuff. And I just been out there on that rugby field and I just felt so free out there. It sometimes even felt easy being on a rugby field for me. I didn't have to think. It was just I was in my flow state, we can say. Yeah. And I still play rugby on a Wednesday night with my boys and all that kind of stuff. And the last couple of years, I've been playing it like I'm still that 20-year-old and really enjoying it and getting that sort of same feeling without the contact. Just that how easy it felt for me, I can say. But this year, I'm just because I'm at a different level in my mind now, I'm not enjoying the game anymore. And it's really hard for me to say that because I love being there with the boys. I do love being there with the boys, but it's like I'm not getting the fun out of the game anymore, and I'm finding I'm even getting that frustrated player, and with all these young guys that we're playing against, and I'm starting to, the ego just comes back, and I've even said to some of the guys, look, I've got a bit of a sore hip in this, I'm just going to cruise tonight, and I'm just going to be a distributor. God, you put the ball in my hand, and next minute I'm trying to step everybody, I'm trying to run, sprint, and it's just not bringing out the best in me anymore. I haven't learnt to switch off that mode and just play for fun. I mean, I've learnt to to not always go 100%. And if some young guy makes a break, normally I'd chase him and I'd make sure I can get him still. But I'm just like, I have let those things go now. I can actually just, I don't need to chase anymore. Or I'll make a break and there'll be some guys chasing me and some of the boys will be like, whoa, Willie, you got caught. And it's like, yeah, I just didn't care as much. I'm not just gunning it anymore. I'm just going about sort of 80% because I'm there for different reasons now. And I'm only just starting to, but yeah, I haven't got the same buzz for it. So I'm just trying to rediscover. You always say you need to know who you are. And I'm literally at a point in my life, and I guess it's like a bit of a midlife crisis coming up to 50 in a few years, where I guess I'm just sort of rediscovering, okay, what's the new me? What is my joy? What are my moments that I'm wanting to do, to be, to live, to support my family, support my kids? How can I be a better parent? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better friend? Because this is stuff that I've neglected, and it's always been about Willie, about Willie, about Willie. And I've realised that has been probably, it's definitely at my age right now, it's a big negative in my life now. And I've found a lot more things now, but it's like I really want to be able to give back more. And I do love doing what I do every day with the youth work and the Chiwi Hope Foundation and these things here. So it's just I'm really trying to have a deep and meaningful. So I think it's time that I come back to Greg offline. I won't offload to everyone here, but we'll have a good chat about that, Greg.
The interesting thing about all that, Willie, is they call it midlife crisis and this type of thing, but really it's transformation. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And what happens is that it's a stage where you realise that you're not young anymore, and you're you're transforming into another person in another part of your life. And too many people take it seriously and then they retreat back to the past. They're always living in the past, just what you're talking about. You're seeing yourself back in those days playing that game.
Yeah.
I've gone past, I'm the 40s, I'm into my 70s, so I'm well past through all that, knowing damn well I cannot chase that young guy. In my 40s, I was doing the same when I was coaching the under 19s, under 20s. So they was challenging me and I was still challenging them. So I know what it's like to be at that stage, but it's a transition. But I can tell you this, from experience and from an older person talking back to younger people, is everybody thinks getting old is like the end. But I can tell you, my best part of my life is now. I am enjoying, because I know who I am now. I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I've still got ahead of me, and it's massive. And why is that? It's because how I think.
Yeah.
It's just in my thoughts. It's what my mindset is like. Now, why you're doing that and going back to your past and at that middle time of life is you're looking for all the real strong points where you were absolutely dominating your life. You were feeling good. You were running and you were feeling free through just natural abilities. You had natural abilities that you were using back then. Whereas you weren't really now, and you had the body, you had the fitness, you had everything to cater for it, and so everything was fine. You know, you're living so-called the dream. But now, at this time of life, you don't know. You're looking and saying, well, you know, what next? What now? How can I beat that? Well, I can assure you, you can beat that most probably by 10 times.
Yeah, I love it how you always say you can 10 times these things.
You can definitely do it, and
whether it's your salary or your lifestyle.
My gosh, I remember for years in the concrete game, my biggest frustration was always, what do I know else? What can I do else than this? I'm good at this. I can stick to this. I remember my brother, he's 8 years younger than me, and he come to me one time way back. And he was at a time of saying, well, you know, he's been in the same game for a lot of time. What do you think I should do? You know, I'm thinking about getting out and doing something else. Well, I'd already done that. And I'd hit some walls and trying to venture out of my comfort zone, my zone that I knew, my industry that I'd been into for so long.
Yeah.
And I hit some real hard times. And at that time, I was in one. And I says to him, mate, stay to what you know. Just stick to what you know, and you'll be good. And he was fine, but he never really diversified. I did. I found the hard times, and I was in a hard time then when he asked me that question. But then now I look back and I think, thank God I had those hard times, because I grew. I grew a massive growth in that time. I would have never done that if I'd stayed in the concrete game. If I was still laying concrete, or I had a concrete business going today, and never ever ventured outside that, and never tried to look at any sort of transformation or learn more or study, I'd still be the same. And so many people go to their grave with the same thing. I've told it before, Bob's favourite saying, the saddest thing at a funeral is not the death of the body, but it's death of all the ideas and all the dreams that went with that body.
Yeah. What do they say? The graveyard is the wealthiest place in the world. It's where all the knowledge and the ideas that never became something of. Yeah. All right. Well, these are great chat. We're off our questions, but at the same time, it all means the same thing. So, how much do our daily decisions shape our future identities?
Big time. What we make today, and it's funny. It's like aiming a rifle at a target. If you move it just a little bit, you'll miss that target, right? But that's what happens now. If you do, it works the reverse way. If we do little actions now to start changing different activities and that makes a big difference in our future, where we're going. It changes the whole real vision of where you're moving. So if you make little changes now, you're slowly moving. You're moving your target. You're moving your area. So when you get down 5 years' time, it's going to be massive if you're doing little chunks. That's why right at the beginning you asked which wolf which wolf you feed. If you feed the wolf of growth, then you're going to have massive growth. If you don't, well, you're not. You're going to stay pretty much the same, just another version of you down the track. So it does. You've got to do things. Start doing things now. The sooner you do it, and listening to podcasts, and this type of thing, that gives you the idea.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. All right, and what's the difference between chasing success and becoming someone worthy of success?
Well, that's a good one. There's two versions of that, because the one chasing success is trying to look for the outside world, trying to look for all the answers outside. Sales, I'd guess sales team, they have it on the whiteboard. The boss is saying, these are the figures we want you to achieve, and you're going for it. But if the person isn't inside, which is the other side, if you already see yourself successful, if they're not working on themselves to achieve those goals, to achieve those numbers, if they just go out there and start knocking on doors and making it happen, if they've got a paradigm in there that they don't sell very well, inside that they're going with, and they can knock on all those doors.
You can knock on as many doors as you like, right?
Yeah, you'll still get sales. There's no doubt. The numbers tell you'll get sales. But you're not going to get as many sales as the guy that decides, you know what, I'm going to learn inside myself how I'm going to be good at knocking at doors. And that's the difference. The person that's seeking success is always looking outside, looking somewhere else. The person that really just knows it, just becomes it, learns to how do I fill that person inside that I need to be to sell those things out there and get that success. And successful people can tell you, unconscious competent, Bob used to say it. Some people that are really successful, and when they've asked, how did you do it? They say, well, I don't know, it's just how I do it. It's like you when you used to run with the ball. People say, Willie, how can I run fast like you and do that? Well, no, you can't teach that, because that's something you got inside you. But when you learn, you learn to be a trainer of that. Yeah. You could actually give some clues of how to start to be like it.
Exactly.
But like you said before, your ego back then wasn't going to tell them anyway, because you didn't want them, just in case they did actually overtake you.
Yeah. No, exactly. This is a good one, because I know you're a product of this one, is can people change their identity at any age?
Absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt, at any time. This old dog can't teach old dogs new tricks is a load of rubbish. It's just that there is just an absolute stubborn.
First thing is that awareness, right?
Yeah,
Again.
yeah. And again, the gentleman that I was talking to this morning, he could have answered that question for you because he did. He says you can't change. He believed you couldn't change until now. Now we've given him some information, and he's all of a sudden gone down that track of studying and learning a bit more. All of a sudden he's come back, and he said some things that have happened were just absolutely just freaked him out really, because they weren't within his normal reality. What he saw reality.
No, that's crazy. Okay, how do habits become identity? People say, "I want to get fit," or once, but that's when you're trying to. How do I say that? It's like instead of saying, "I want to get fit," they can turn it around to be a become, and it's like, "I am someone who looks after my health." That's a whole different way, because by throwing it just so lightly out there, I want to get fit. Like there's so many details to that, and it comes down to your why as well. But then if you're saying it, someone like, I am someone who looks after my health, that's a different way of looking at that.
Yeah, that's a little bit like the last answer, last question, to be honest, because one of it's, I want to get fit, but you don't actually go and get fit. No. The other one is I want to be, I have a good healthy body, and I always look after it. That's a different, it's a different attitude to the whole thing. Yeah. And meaning that you will do things naturally to get fit and keep on top, because it's a part of
after your health.
Yep. It's just a part of who you are, and that's it.
Yeah. And why do people struggle to become the person they want to be?
Because they don't understand this stuff that we talk about.
Yeah.
They're looking they're looking from the outside. They say, I want to be like you, Willie. And
what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. I want to be, I want to be able to run like you could run, and I want to be able to do the sports that you could do, and you were good at rugby. How, I want to be like that. Well, you actually got to want it inside, in the way of understanding, saying, I'm going to learn how to be like that. I'm going to I'm going to get around the right type of people that actually, I'm going to come and see Willie and see what he does each day. I want to talk to Willie and see what he's thinking that makes him like that. And as you says there before, you were giving it away. A lot of it's ego, because one of it's natural instinct. You were naturally physically able to do these things. You had this born natural ability, but then all of a sudden, this more confidence you got in that, the more determined you become to hold that state.
More trained technique after that.
Absolutely. So then
more motivation to work hard for it.
Absolutely. So you've got to, to do that, to get into that, you've got to start training yourself mentally. Become that person inside your mind, and see that picture of that person. We call it.
On that, sorry to cut you off, but it's like, I'm just thinking back through my career. It's easy like that, but as a young child, I was getting my own self-worth, self-belief out of the confidence that I was having on the rugby field. And then, so every time I'd train, I'd be training physically, I'd be practicing, my skill would, but at the same time, I was not just getting physical reps in, I was getting those mental reps as well. I'd do it in all conditions, rain, whatever it was. Because I was thinking, my Saturday game is going to be like this. I have to train at this time of the day, and that's the day that I'm going to be playing my game in the weekend. Yeah, but what are you doing? It's even snowing in France. You're going out to do kicking practice. It's like, yeah, because it could be like that. This is going to be the conditions at this time. I want the same sun at this time of the day. I want to be on that same pitch. And this is just, I used to break it down, but once you know what you want and you've got big goals, which I did, and that's what I've got to reassess my own life right now. But it's like, once I had those goals, then everything just starts to fall into place. You find ways to make it happen, and you start to think, okay, what stepping stones do I need? And that's what you just spoke about just before. Yeah,
the hows come to you. See, everybody thinks, no, I'm not going to do anything because I don't know how, but they don't realise how is not the question to be asking, because the hows will always come. All you have to do is ask the question is, I can. I can. I have the ability. Now, a lot of people don't believe that they have. But see, let's do a little quick snap on what you just talked about. Why were you doing all that? Well, when you really got the big breakthrough, when you played that first game of rugby and you got that runaway try and scored under the post, you ran around these big boys and the ball landed in your hand. You didn't expect it, so you just reacted and took off and went and scored the try. And within that moment, you got great big acknowledgement to yourself. It's like, wow, did I really do that?
Yeah, I surprised myself.
You did, but see, that had more effect on you than what you realised, because the next game you played, you got more of the same, of the same. And then when you got to France and that, you're professional. You're playing professional and that, and you knew damn well that the rewards were there. You actually had a gift. You had something that you knew that nobody else could be actually close in a lot of ways. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. So what you then says, all right, I've got a good skill. I'm going to improve on it. Just imagine I did that and I didn't know I had it. Now I know I've got it. What happens if I improve it? Wow, who's going to touch me now?
Yeah.
How good am I going to be in this game now? Where am I going to go with this game now? Listen to all the open possibilities.
Oh, yeah.
You were going off just one natural thing that you didn't expect, which was like a surprise. But it wasn't in a way, because your coach that put you there obviously saw something in you and you didn't see.
Yeah.
You thought, oh, you're all right down in that lower grade, but when he picked you up and pulled you straight into the seniors at a young age.
Oh, yeah.
He saw the foresight, he saw that ability, but that was his job, to be looking around for people that have got talent. And then you got that opportunity, which was massive on a fairly, well, it was a big stage for you at that stage.
Oh, yeah.
But what you're talking about, doing all that training and doing what you're doing over there, overseas, and that, you can see exactly why you're going to do it, because you say, well, I'll just improve on this. I didn't even realise I was this good, and now if I improve on this, and I seem to look like proof is saying that I'm very good at this, and look where it's got me.
Yeah.
If I practice a bit more on this, where am I going to go? This is it. So, yeah, absolutely. Whereas everybody else was saying, hey, come on, Willie, let's go and have a beer. Why? Because they weren't in that grade. They weren't in that. They hadn't had those. They were just playing the game.
Yeah. And I still remember, even at some trainings, I used to get frustrated because I wanted the rest of the team, I wanted to be pushed. I wanted to train so hard. So I still remember we had this athletic track. This is in Valence in France. We had an athletic track around our field. And the grounds were so frozen. So we're just doing stuff on with our gym shoes and all this kind of stuff. And then at the end, it's like, right, get on the 400 meter track. And I still remember I just put the challenge out to everybody, and I started behind everybody. And I says, right, if anybody can beat me in this 400 meter run, I will run it again by myself. And I said, and I'll give you a head start. And it was just like, go. And everyone took off, and then I took off. And I just remember there was a couple of really quick wingers as well. And they took off, but we'd already been doing a lot of fitness work. And I knew that I've done the groundwork. But I just wanted to be able to push everybody so hard so that, because I don't like everybody in cruise control. And I wanted to be pushed, and I love the chase as well. So I went for it. And of course, I got the result that I knew I was going to get. But it made everyone else, just for that one last run, at least have a shot. Right, we're going to take down Willie, maybe. Or if he does it, he's going to have to do it by himself again. So I'm going to do it. And it's crazy that I was just looking for challenges because I wanted to be pushed more. And yeah, but I mean, hey, careers can go in all directions, and I'm just really proud of who I am and who I was, and even still to who I am to this day. But I see we're coming up close to 40 minutes. We better wrap up our episode 10. But it's been an awesome season so far, mate. I really appreciate you every time. And I think I'm going to be seeing a lot more of you outside of these podcasts, because it's a good time of life to be around you, mate.
Yeah, okay, you're welcome, Willie. It's always a joy, and as I say, it's a passion of mine. I just love speaking this, because I know the difference it made to me, and I know how it can help everybody else that wants to have a go at just making that difference or getting better results.
Yeah, I love what you do and how you're looking to help other people's mindsets. So if anybody out there, it's all the details are down below. Just click on it below and get in touch with Greg. And yeah, look after yourselves. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Willie.